The purity is tainted by the environment that they're actually brought up in. So our Prophet Muhammad, he said that every child is born upon this fitrah, but its mother and father.
After birth, as this source that's born, each child
it's a primordial. It's a primordial state. It's an instinctual state.
You're saying that each child is born with this source within them.
It's known as a fitrah, meaning that it's there. The belief in God is written therein in the hearts. A child, if it's left upon its purity without that purity being tainted, that child will essentially grow up to sort of sustain that belief in something instinctually outside of itself. So the Prophet made mention of this, and then he said, but its mother and father, they may inculcate within it Judaism, Christianity, or Zoroastrianism, meaning that the environment that you're essentially brought up in usually necessitates how you'll turn out.
Yeah. But when you ask me about a source of the universe, I'm thinking Big Bang.
Yeah.
Pre-Big Bang.
Pre-Big Bang.
Well, what was it? What
yeah,
was
very good question.
Just space.
Yeah.
And how is it now that there are millions of planets weighing billions of tons each?
Yeah.
But
the Quran does touch upon this, by the way.
But your source is also the origin of all of this.
Yes.
Because you say the heavens on the earth.
Exactly.
So the heavens would include all the stars and
all the stars and everything,
the entire universe.
Everything that exists that we've been informed of, as well as those things that we can't see with our eyes, or we can't we can't see with our eyes. So,
but God is the source.
The source of all things. So essentially, there is that.
But it's not
the independent.
It's not a creative belief that God created in 7 days.
Yeah, I'll break it down for you. There is the source itself, which is independent and a necessary being, whilst everything that it brings into existence is entirely dependent upon it, and so therefore is contingent upon this necessary being. So there's a verse in the Quran where when the Prophet recited this to one of his companion said that though he had faith in God, when he heard this verse, it was then that faith came and settled into his heart. And the verse is a threefold question. It's almost rhetorical in nature. But it says, Am khuliqu min ghayri shay'in, or were they created by nothing? Am humul khaliqun, or did they create themselves? Or were they the creators of all that exists, the heavens and the earth? Nay, they have no certainty, meaning they have no certainty of knowledge. So if we take that first question, or were they created by nothing? I think that's a profound metaphysical question, because essentially what it does, it whittles down the source of all creation down to either something bringing it into existence or nothing bringing it into existence. And the nothingness here is an absolute nothingness. It's not what some atheists like Lawrence Krauss describe as the vacuum, and when you ask them what this vacuum is, a vacuum being a synonym for nothingness, but when you ask them what that is, they say, well, it's the vacuum energy, which is essentially a sea of energy from which virtual particles arise. What we're talking about here is absolute nothingness, the absence of matter, energy, potential, whatever you can think of. And so I think it's a reasonable assumption, given the knowledge that we have of the world, given that you and I don't think we need to in fact, no one on this earth would dispute the intuitive nature of the present moment. I think the present moment is something that all human beings will recognize a priori, meaning instinctually. You don't need to establish proofs in regards to that. It's a properly basic belief.
Philosophers will talk about
the nature of time,
which is physics, and how am I actually here, and what is my purpose? I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
But philosophers will argue about our existence currently,
Yeah.
But I won't argue with that.
Yeah.
You're saying neither of us would argue, but I won't either.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable.
Feel the present moment.
Yes.
But you're talking about one of the questions was, did the Earth create beings on it?
Yeah, so I'll take it in stages, otherwise we'll make that massive leap. And I think the Quran, has given this threefold question in the way that it has, in order for human beings to rationally work their way through each category. So the category of nothingness, I was going to say to you, since we recognize the present, I'm sure you'll also recognize that what brought us to this present moment are those very many causes that we know and we see through our experiences in life. what science will refer to as a law of causality, through which we make inferences to the best explanation by looking at all those experiences that we have in the past and being able to make reasonable assumptions based upon all those causes regarding what will come thereafter.
Yeah. How we rationalize things.
How we rationalize things, precisely. So when the Quran tells people to think and to think deeply, it's not asking them to make an impossible paradigm shift outside of their rationale. It's never going to ask human beings to
believe they're not a human, but they're a different animal, let's say.
No, just not to try and make sense of the world by going outside of the rational field.
So humans, we by our nature are incapable of understanding
the world around us.
Yeah, okay.
By this, because you hear some people say, well, maybe there's a way of thinking about the world beyond the rationale. Well, that's a self-defeating statement. You require the rationale to try and answer the question of whether there is a way of understanding the world without the rationale.
Yeah.
So it's a loop.
Yes.
Yeah. So whenever anyone says this, I tend to point out to them, well, that's self-defeating because you need the rationale in order to ask questions about whether the rationale is required or not. So these causes and effects, we would say, extend...
You're basically saying that Islam is not anti-science. That would suggest Islam is not anti-science to the highest level.
To the highest level.
Like
in fact, if you...
monomolecular or subatomic level.
To the subatomic, from the subatomic level...
To the astrological...
Down to the point of the origin of the universe.
Yes.
To the greatest things. In fact, I'll just give this as a way for you to appreciate this. The Quran actually says that we will show them our signs, meaning God is saying we will show them our creative signs within the furthest horizons and also within themselves until it becomes manifest to them that the Quran, is the truth, and is it not enough for them that their Lord is a witness over all things. So the Quran actually...
The Lord being Allah.
Allah, the creator of all things, Allah being the name of God in the Arabic language.
Okay, so Muhammad is a prophet, he's not considered God.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, for us...
He's the messenger of God.
That's it. We don't, unlike the Christians, we think it is the greatest sin to ascribe partners in the worship of God, whether that be human beings or anything else from creation. Because why? Because everything that's created is contingent upon the Creator.
So that suggests there's no hierarchy in Islam.
By way of worship, no. There's only the Creator. We don't have this idea that there are divine hierarchy of divine beings.
Pope and bishops and cardinals.
No. In terms of giving the divine nature to something in creation, that's what I'm talking about. The hierarchy of divine beings. Like, for instance, the Christians say there is the Father, and then He sent His Son, and the Son is begotten of the Father, but the Son is divine. But we see Jesus as, like all the prophets and messengers, whether they be Abraham, Isaac, Ishmael, David, Joshua, you name them, we recognize them to be just human beings like us, except that they've been purified by God and they receive revelation from God. The same was true of Muhammad. Muhammad came through the line of Ishmael, by the way, through the Arabs, and all the other prophets and messengers came through the line of Isaac. But we know that, according to the Bible, God blessed both the seeds of Abraham, both Isaac and Ishmael. But I digress. So going back to the point about whether nothing can bring anything into existence, if nothingness, which is the absence of all things, cannot bring the universe into existence, then there must have been something outside of the universe that brought the universe into existence. Now this something can either have a beginning like the universe, or it is eternal. If it has a beginning, the same questions we're asking of the universe, we have to ask of this thing that we claim brought the universe into existence but has a beginning. Now, if it has a beginning, then we have to ask ourselves, well, what brought that into existence for it to then bring the universe into existence? And what we get is an infinite regress that turns into a vicious regress. There's no way of...
So in other words, there's no way to understand these things,
Precisely.
comprehend them fully.
Precisely. So therefore, the only other option left is that the source that brought the universe into existence must be eternal. Now, this source cannot be almost mechanical. It can't be in the sense of being immaterial. It has to be a source that has potentiality because it decided to bring the universe into existence. And something that doesn't have the potential is as good as not existing. It must have a certain level of power. You and I, we have power. We exercise it all the time to get to one place to another. That's one of the attributes that we recognize by necessity. This source also must have power because it must have had the power to bring the universe into existence. bring it into existence, and then sustain it thereafter. This source has to have a certain level of knowledge, because we're being told that the universe was established upon 4 constants, these fundamental constants that the scientists are telling us exist: electromagnetism, gravity, and the 2 nuclear forces, the weak and the strong. And they are telling us that these forces must have been finely tuned to some degree, because if they hadn't been, then either the universe wouldn't have begun, or the universe would, if it began, it would remain inert. But we know that's not true. The universe, with this programming, if you will, it transformed from a point of perpetual chaos to perpetual harmony, a type of inbuilt building mechanism that transformed from a point...
Harmony outside of humanity.
Yes, yes, humanity. We're talking about atheism.
Because
So,
within humanity, with great conflict.
yeah, sadly. So going back to the question, were they created by nothing, or was the source that brought everything into existence, the only answer we now have is that this source has necessary attributes. It must be alive, because only a thing that is alive has volition, power, and knowledge. The fact that this thing brought the universe into existence and placed these fine-tuned parameters within creation tells us that this thing must have a certain level of wisdom. Now, wisdom in the Islamic tradition is defined as putting everything in its rightful place. Putting everything in its rightful place. And in fact, the same definition is given for justice as well, which is quite interesting. So the first question was, or were they created by nothing? Nothing can't create anything, therefore the source that brought everything into existence is something that is alive and has attributes. Once you recognize that, I think it has a profound effect on how we look at life, or it should have a profound effect. The next question, or did we create ourselves? It's obvious we didn't create ourselves. Our mother and father did that, and their mother and father before them. Or were they the creators of the universe? Well, we're part of the universe, we're part of the whole, and so the whole has a beginning, and that beginning harkens back to the answer to the first question, which was that something brought everything into existence. And so therefore, when God says that those people who deny the answers to these 3 questions, they have no certainty, it's essentially certainty of knowledge. They will never be able to reach certainty of knowledge. They'll always waver. So theists...
But they shouldn't need to be certain of knowledge, is what you're suggesting.
No, they'll never be able to reach certain knowledge in regards to what brought the universe into existence.
Yeah.
Usually
the Old Testament, I think, talks about the whole 7 days. The earth was created in
and
7 days and it rested on the 7th.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, Islam follows the Old Testament to some extent.
to some degree, to some level of degree.
So in that creationist respect.
Yeah, so we believe in the Quran also. God says that He created the heavens and the earth in 6 days.
Yeah, okay, which is
The Quran says that the creator of everything did not rest. Right, so that's one distinction that the Quran
no Sabbath.
No, it actually makes a conscious correction of the previous scripture.
Right.
We don't believe that God rested and was refreshed. The Quran explicitly states that la'ibin, that He does not rest.
Okay.
So when we've established this, the question then arises, well, do we owe this source something by way of thanks and gratitude? Because you and I, for instance, and this goes back to understanding of the fitrah. The fitrah also establishes within humans...
I don't know what the fitrah is.
Oh, the fitrah,
You may have spent a while to explain
that primordial state that every child is born upon.
Oh, okay.
The recognition of...
this kind of sourceful energy, or energy drawn from the source.
Yeah, you could put it like that. I guess you could put it like that. So the fitrah, what it also establishes are those fundamental laws that human beings require in order to make propositional truth claims and be in a position to be able to verify those. So for instance, the bivalid laws of logic, I'm not sure whether you've heard of them. The bivalid laws of logic have it that the law of bivalence, the law of excluded middle, and the law of non-contradiction. The law of non-contradiction is the most famous of them because you can't make sense of the world, neither can you make any truth claims without taking that as a given. Taking that as a given, because the law of non-contradiction has it that something and its opposite cannot be true at the same time and in the same respect.
So this is Muhammad's teaching.
No, okay, that's a very good question. The law of non-contradiction is so basic that the very foundation of Islam which is the Shahada, which is the declaration of faith, which allows a non-Muslim to become a Muslim.
Oh, yes, okay.
Yeah, that has within it the basic understanding of the formulation of the law of non-contradiction. And I'll break that down for you. The Shahada is La.
But are you saying that the law of non-contradiction is a scientific thing, not related to, it's a secular thing, not related to Islam?
No, I'm saying it's related to it's related to all people, and it is the bedrock of rational thought and thinking.
But is this shared by other Abrahamic faiths?
Yes. I mean, I don't believe any Abrahamic faith. I don't believe any religion on earth would deny the fact that the law of non-contradiction is required.
But is this a
to
modern
make truth
term?
claims.
Is this a modern term?
No, it's not.
Okay.
No, it's been formalized by the ancients, if you will, but it's been understood by other cultures, the Chinese, the Hindus, the Indians, I should say, the Muslims, the Greeks. So La ilaha illallah. So La ilaha illallah.
If you actually look at history,
if you don't mind, I'm actually speaking to him.
Contradiction is actually something that you will find in many ancient cultures where they actually believe that contradictions can be true. Actually, the idea of non-contradiction comes out of the 1800s.
No, it doesn't. It was actually formalized by Aristotle. The law of non-contradiction was formalized as A and not A is false. I mean, the fact that you don't know
Aristotle
that is
wrote
just
A and not A.
unbelievable.
Wait 1 second. Aristotle wrote A and not A.
No, I've formalized it in the
Okay.
modern sense. But we have philosophers in the past who recognize the law of non-contradiction. The fact that you don't know that
come
is
here.
extraordinary.
So
this guy's a Christian. He's also a heckler. He came here to try and disrupt.
the
Because
law
why?
of
I'll tell you why.
non-contradiction- Okay, go ahead.
The Christians actually deny the law of non-contradiction through their belief, despite them recognizing,
Yeah,
despite them
a second ago we
recognizing
affirmed
that
it,
they
then I was
cannot
denying it.
they cannot make a truth claim without the law of non-contradiction.
Yeah, you can.
Do you know how? I'll tell you how. A and not A is an impossibility. You
Not
can't
always.
have something that has an essence and has attributes and exist in the opposite way at the same time in the same respect, because it's an impossibility. I'll give you an example. If God is ever living, would the term temporarily eternal make sense to you?
Well, define it.
Temporarily eternal. I don't think temporarily eternal requires definition. Eternal
I think it does,
is
actually.
something
What
that
do you
has
mean by
no
that?
beginning and no end.
Okay.
And temporary
Yep.
is the very antithesis of no beginning and no end.
Okay.
So therefore, does the term temporarily eternal make any coherent sense?
It depends. It
Depends.
in the same sense at the same time.
You see?
or in different senses?
I'll give you another example.
Okay.
Can God cease to exist? Given that the very definition of God is that he's ever living. He will never cease to exist. Ask yourself, is that possible?
The Israelis probably have an atomic bomb to wipe him out at this stage.
Yeah, you're right. They do. They probably would.
So I
They
guess the answer is yes then.
they probably would.
Right?
So you see how they went quiet? Because when you go with these intuitive truths,
Okay.
these definitions that are obvious,
right.
that a God that is eternal,
Yep.
and someone says that he's also not eternal, that's a contradiction in terms. So that thing cannot be true. It can't even be defined as a thing.
So that isn't true, actually. So
That isn't true. Did you hear that?
Here's the funny thing. The law of non-contradiction.
That's why these
works
Christians
in
believe
most cases,
that Jesus
but not
is
in all
God.
cases. So there are some
you hear that?
cases,
In
like,
some
for
cases.
example, in the like, quantum states, where somehow, by observation, particles seem to exist in more than one place at one time.
By the way, this is
at the same
a
time.
Christian.
Now, this is something
All
that
he
we
does is
observe
come to Heckle,
in the quantum
watch
state,
how I'll
in
refute him
the very small,
in within 30
degrees
seconds,
of our
Bismillah.
reality. So it appears that there are some cases that actually have the law of contradiction occurring, but it isn't a contradiction. So that's why we have things like, for example, quantum logic.
Now check this
So
out. Check this out.
If something works in most cases,
Let's take that as
doesn't mean
a
it works in all cases.
yeah. So let's take that as a proposition that quantum logic has it that something can exist in one state and the other at the same time. That's a propositional claim. That's either true or it's false. Now, in order for us to determine its truth or falsity, it presupposes the law of non-contradiction. If the person says not necessarily, which I know he will, what then arises is a paradox. The paradox is that the truth case, which is that quantum logic has it that something can exist and not exist at the same time, or something exists in one way and the opposite at the same time, can be true and false at the same time, because he's denied the law of non-contradiction, which is
That
required to
entire
make
point
sense.
made no sense.
Yeah, did you make that? Did that make sense to you, sir?
No, it didn't make any sense.
Can I ask a different question?
You repeat yourself 3 times.
If you say
No worries.
that
You know
God-
what? I'm so confident. Just give me 1 second. I'm so confident that the people at home listening in on this, I could, you know what? I could walk away from here with absolute certainty
They don't know
that
what you're
I've just
talking
refuted him
You didn't refute
because,
anything.
look, he tried to undermine this foundational law.
It isn't
and what did he? What did he say? What did
It
he
just
say?
works in most cases.
What did he say?
So,
He gave a proposition.
It does, it
He gave a
does.
proposition. He said, he said that within quantum mechanics, there is this state of affairs which has it that something can exist in one way and its opposite at the same time. That's what he said, right? Right.
Well, no, that's not what I said.
Now that's
That
a
isn't
truth.
what I said.
Now that's a truth claim. No matter what he says, that's whatever he says. It's
then
a
maybe you
truth
should hear what I
claim.
said first.
Now the truth claim can either be true or false. But if you deny the law of non-contradiction, it can be both true and false at the same time, which places him in a quandary. How does he now prove that his propositional claim is true or false? By denying the law of non-contradiction. So as you can see, there's no way around it. No matter when he opens his mouth,
denying it,
when
just
he
saying that it doesn't work in every
opens his
circumstance,
mouth,
that's all.
when he opens his
And
mouth to
even
try and
within
deny this law,
contradiction,
he's already
there are
he's
things
already
that
self-defeated
Can I
himself.
ask a separate question?
Go for it.
Like,
So like I said, I refuted him within
You didn't
30
refute anything.
seconds.
you're talking about the eternality of God.
Yes.
Okay? So his origins go back a long way if it's eternal.
Yes. Not long way, forever. But he's eternal.
Forever. And we can verify through science that the planets are a certain age, like billions of years old, or goodness knows what. I don't know what I'm just guessing.
It's a long
but
time.
okay.
14.6 billion years old, they say. Although some estimates have put it at 23 billion years old or something like that.
Okay, so why did he take his time about creating humanity?
It's a very good question. Because
Did he take 20
Allah,
billion years about it?
do you remember that?
If he built it all in 6 days.
Yeah, so the 6 days, by the way, it's 6 epochs. In the Arabic language, Yom is epochs.
It also means just days.
It can
so
also
you have
mean
multiple
days,
uses.
so therefore the
same
term
happens
is
in the
not,
Bible.
so therefore the term is not unequivocal, it's equivocal, meaning we determine the definition of the term in relation to the context in which it is applied. So when it is applied in relation to God creating the heavens and the earth, it's 6 epochs, not 20. Yes, divisions. That's
beginning
it.
of part.
Not 6 24 period.
Well, actually,
24 periods,
in his
24-hour
Hadith
periods.
tradition, they think that God literally makes like one thing on a Monday, another thing on a Tuesday, another thing on a Wednesday, another thing on a Thursday. I can show it to you. So actually, in his tradition, more so than ours, he literally believes that it's days.
Yeah, and if you go back to that tradition, the scholars have actually spoken about this. The funny thing is,
Modern scholars,
he's not going
not
to
ancient.
address the big elephant in the room, which is that his God had to create.
Oh, so he's running.
He had to create,
Sure.
and then he rested. Did you see how when I put that to you, the man was silent? And did you see how he went quiet when I refuted him in relation to the law of contradiction, the law of non-contradiction? So the reason why that is.
Simply just means ceasing from work. So if we say that, for example, that God made things in certain...
Chris, are you with him, by the way? Are you with him?
And then in the last
No, I thought you were a reasonable individual.
And that would be him quote-unquote resting. We believe
No, we
that
have. Me and Isa and your friend.
we use analogy.
I think we had a brief conversation,
conversation.
but it was a good conversation. That's what I'm trying to get my point across. But I refuse to have a conversation with him and Chris because I'll tell you why. We've had experiences with him in the past. Him and Little Bob, who's pushing a sort of far right agenda.
He's the guy who got beaten by Muslims last week.
Yeah, he, the one who shoved in a microphone and got into. Well, Chris. Oh, really? Okay, maybe I need to watch the video.
Took his phone.
Well, Chris, maybe I need to watch. Chris, you're presupposing that I watched the video, right? So maybe I need to watch the video. But I'm talking about those very many videos that I've watched where this individual, he purposefully comes to Stratford, gets in our personal space, Chris, and tries to get the Muslims to react. Now, I don't think that's. I think that's disingenuous.
I don't think it's like
Chris, come on,
it's
come on.
compatible with
Wait,
atheism.
wait.
If someone
So-
gets in your
It's a
personal
whole lot of
space.
nonsense.
Siraj gets in our personal space.
Because
No, but
there's
we never
many
went to
things
them.
that-
They come to
Lamin
us, Chris.
gets in our personal
have to
space.
just-
David and Little.
with no
Chris,
proof.
Come on, you see,
be
my point
fair,
is-
my friend. Be fair.
This is a place.
He has to
Listen,
believe.
I know, but when you actually go out of your way to go to a particular people, I know you don't do it.
But we can.
But I've never seen that before. I'm talking about him. I'm saying, why would you hang around with an individual who is friends with another individual who pushes a far right agenda and is a racist through and through? I don't. Well, I wouldn't associate with them. I would be the one that would condemn them. Thank you very much.
So they are claims made
them all into-
legally.
So Chris, do I therefore assume here on in that you don't have a problem with what they do?
No.
I'm not
What
talking
you can
about
assume
7th century
is that
BCE.
I will
or
associate with
2000
whoever I want
BCE,
to,
7th
just like you do.
century, right? At
Well,
this
I don't
point,
associate
we
with
already had Frankish kingdoms,
anyone I want
we
to. I
already
actually
had
make a
Christian-
distinction
in-
between
in
who I
England,
associate. I will not
we already
associate
had,
with the extremists.
Vikings
I will not
making their
associate
way,
with the Muslims
in
who go
down
around
the
doing
north
things that are
and
wrong.
the south.
So can you say the same
history
thing,
that
Chris?
we know
Yeah, I
about.
can say.
So why are you
No
hanging around with him
reports
for?
of any
When he
other
goes
major
around
floods
purposefully,
in that era.
getting into people's
So,
spaces,
if
looking
it
to
is
get a
true
reaction
that
from them, and when he gets a reaction, what happens?
That's your point of view.
But no one sees it.
There's
no one
evidence for this, so it's not my point of view.
Show me video.
There's
Show me
video. There's
Show me video of him being violent.
Okay, let me just on camera. Let me just get this from you. Are
Yeah.
you denying that the far right take videos
No.
Who is the
that?
far right?
example,
I think Islam is the far right.
So you're denying that the far right do this? I just want to get this in video. Why are you denying that?
Wait. Are women who are veiled
It's the
are not
corner.
allowed to?
I'm not going to get into that conversation until you answer my
Right
question.
view.
I'm not going to get into that conversation until you answer my question.
you're far right.
Because I need to know whether you're a sympathizer towards the far right.
The far right is Islam.
Thank you, Chris.
far
You've answered everything I need to
far
know.
right.
Thank you.
If you
Thank
say
you.
to a woman,
I guess the joke is on me, right, for judging you
Can
to
women-
be a person who is
do
reasonable.
women have the
So
liberal-
here on in,
Wait,
I will tell
basically,
Muslims to keep away from you.
Because I said that I think that far right
No,
is Islam.
yes, I think that's an extremely important thing. So I'm not going to associate
Islam
with
democratic?
the far right.
Is Islam
I'm not going to get into that, Chris, because you've given me everything I need to.
Muslims.
No, thank you very
Islam
much.
liberal or democratic?
Don't answer him, Ikhwan. Do not answer him.
don't answer him.
The guy is obviously a far right sympathizer.
I don't
Far right
sympathize with
sympathizer.
Islam. I don't sympathize
So
with Islam.
we'll leave it there, inshallah.
I don't
So
believe
my friend,
women
would you
need to
like
come
to
far right.
carry this conversation forward, or shall we call it a day, or what? Given that we were rudely interrupted by, oh, lo and behold, Christians, because they're so insecure that they cannot.
Record all the microphones.
Yeah, go for it,
Yeah.
go for it.
It shows
Go
you
for
how
it.
insecure Muslims are.
Have
They have to just capture every conversation they can have.
have a video of the far right individual here who
Have a video of this Muhammadan
who has
jihadist.
a hatred for Muslims.
This guy's hated for the West. He wants to dominate it and turn it into a
So
double
anyway,
bubble.
what's your name by the way? What's your name? Andrew Hamza. Listen, I appreciate the time that you've given me.
The same name as the Scottish former First Minister.
Yes,
Hamza Yousaf.
yes, Hamza Yousaf. Yes,
Hamza or Hamza?
Hamza.
Same name.
Yeah, same name, but spelled like, but it's the same name. But I think
Mehdi, you know Mehdi Hassan?
yes.
People seem to pronounce his name different every time. Like some people say Mehdi and Mehdi. He says Mehdi for Western media, I think.
Yeah, precisely. So I hope I've given you enough for you to appreciate that Islam is far different from other religions in that
It's the same
it
thing.
appeals to the human rationale.
It doesn't.
And it actually encourages the
Sorry.
advancement of science and rational thought. Not like the Christians who give you a concept of God that is mentally oppressive, where they say God is all knowledgeable, but he did not know the hour.
So
You know what I mean?
When you compare the West to Muslim countries, where's the advancement there?
You see where he's going now?
Yeah.
He's running to the Muslim countries.
Where's
He
the
will not
advancement?
address, they will never
advancement?
address
You said Islam.
the logical
warrants
problem of the
advancement.
Trinity.
Okay,
Because
I
why?
will.
I'll tell you why. Because
and
if God
explain
is
the
all
camera
knowledgeable,
for you.
there is never a time that he can never be not all
that's not
knowledgeable.
the LPT.
Which is the law of non-contradiction.
Okay.
But then Jesus says that he does not know the hour.
All right.
Now the Christians have an excuse for this. They say, oh, it was a functional declaration. Oh, really? Was it? Have you read Mark chapter 13? Have you looked at the context?
Yeah.
Have you looked at what Mark 13:35 says?
32.
That 13:35.
32.
Watch how
Alright,
of a fool he makes of
go
himself,
for
right?
it, go for it.
1335 is a funny one. It's a funny verse because it was made famous in a film that many consider the greatest Hollywood movie ever made, Shawshank Redemption. Have you seen that? Yeah, very good movie, right?
So before that,
So
nobody
look
knew
how he interjects. Look how he interjects,
before
right?
that, so you say it was made famous, so before that, no one knew about Mark.
Look how I'm going to
Awesome.
refute him
Alright,
in
go
regards
for
to
it.
Mark
Go
13:32.
for it.
He thinks I don't know, right?
Go for it.
So this film is funny because the warden, remember the warden goes up to Andy Dufresne, and the warden sees Andy Dufresne with the Bible in his hand, right? Now, this is a refutation of those Christians who claim that when Jesus says, "I do not know the hour," this is a functional proclamation. It's not one.
Bible contained the stone pick, didn't it?
Yeah, that too. But this is in relation to Jesus not knowing the hour and yet so apparently being all knowledgeable. So the warden goes to Dufresne. He says, "Good to see you reading the Bible." right? And Dufresne goes, and he goes, any favorite passages? And Dufresne goes, something like, watch ye, for ye know not when the master of the house cometh, right? So he's and then he goes, oh, I've always loved that verse, right? So the verse is a very interesting one because it contextualizes Mark 13:32, where Jesus says, I do not know the hour, neither the Son, nor the angels in heaven, but the Father who is the true God, right? Now, it can't be a functional proclamation because it is a proclamation of actual knowledge that Jesus does not know the hour. Because the verse that Andy Dufresne actually recites, he says, ye know not when the master of the house cometh, whether he comes, check this out, it's a parable, right? The parables always have a meaning behind them. Whether he comes in the morning, whether he comes in the evening, or whether the rooster crows, or whether he comes at night. In other words, the master does not know. The master doesn't know. So Jesus, so the master know not when. So the person does not know when the master cometh, right? So check this out.
Try again, man.
If Jesus is claiming functional knowledge or a functional proclamation, why is he giving this parable, which is clearly determining that a person does not know some type of knowledge?
Just for humans.
Did you hear that? It's humans. That's not the point. The point is that Jesus is saying he does not know the hour.
Andrew, the answer is very simple.
Yeah, go on. Let's have a listen to this answer.
Right here, you have the same verse, Mark 13:36. You have the English, the Greek writings, and the pronunciation.
Oh, he's going to go to the Greek, is he?
So right here, it says, concerning now the day. That's all the hour.
They love it.
Yep.
It seems like I'm a magnet or something.
It says, concerning now the day.
Now, Chris, Andrew, you know what the funny thing is? Same thing happened to the Prophet Muhammad.
No one believed in him in his time. So
Because they're so
now the
insecure
day,
that they will not come to
all the
evangelize.
hour,
They only come here to do one thing:
no,
to stop
not
the
even
Muslims from
the
evangelizing.
angels in heaven,
Neither
nor
the Son,
and look
but
here. It doesn't say but.
but
It
the
says
Father.
If not the Father.
No.
Right here, there's a clause in the Greek.
Yeah.
May, if not. So to say that if the Father doesn't know the hour, then the Son doesn't know the hour either. But he already admitted earlier that the Father knows the hour, so by extension, should I say, the Son also knows the hour.
So Andrew, check this out.
It is simply called something where there is a counterfactual dependency.
Now check this out.
Where something would not occur if not caused by something else. So that first thing, the antecedent, the first cause, would be the Father, and then the secondary cause would be the Son. But both of them are engaging in a single action of knowing the hour.
Did you hear that?
So simply, if you
Both
were
of them
simply to refer
are
to the
engaged
Greek, then you
in the
know.
single action of knowing the hour. So ask yourself this: Jesus came to teach the truth,
Well,
right?
he has to deal with the
Is
verse.
he
but
lying?
he's not
Is
doing
he
that.
lying or telling the truth when he says
He's,
that I do not
dealing
know
with
the
translation.
hour,
It doesn't say that. It doesn't say
but
that.
the Father knows
It doesn't
the
say that
hour?
anywhere here.
And then what does he do?
Doesn't say that.
He clarifies it
Doesn't
by
say that.
giving a parable, which has it
Doesn't say that.
that the person does not know when the master will come to the house.
Andrew, can you
So
show me
it's
here where it
clearly,
says I don't know the hour?
it's
Anywhere here.
clearly, it has nothing to do with any grammatical functionality of the language. It is to do
And this
with the
guy's
fact
rational.
that
I don't see anywhere
Jesus
where it
is
says,
clearly
I
stating.
don't know the hour here. Well, where is that? I don't see it. So he said that, but it's not here.
Check this out.
So clearly he can't reach.
Read the NIV version of the Bible.
Oh, okay.
Read the RSV version of the Bible.
Read those versions.
Check this out.
In English.
Read the King James, right? Don't listen to David, because David obviously is an expert in the Greek language.
Okay.
Oh, he's an expert. He knows Greek. Right?
He's an expert in English.
He's an expert in the English language.
Well,
but
that's you.
don't read
And also he's
don't
an
read
expert in
these
the Bible,
experts
which is
in
why
the
he can
Greek
tell you which is
and the
supposed to read.
English language. 32 scholars of the highest eminence, backed by 50 cooperating denominations.
Name two.
I don't need to.
Okay.
I'm
so
making the
he's
point
giving
here
you
that
numbers.
the Revised Standard
18
Version,
Muslims
the
of
Revised
highest
Standard,
ordinance
Andrew,
from the
the
best
Revised
universities
Standard Version
within Islam
was written
say that
by
Christianity is
32
true.
scholars of the highest eminence,
What
backed
were
by
their
50
names?
cooperating denominations.
Which ones?
So check this out.
Which ones?
Is he going to deny the fact that
Which
his
ones?
experts wrote the Bible?
What experts?
So who are you going to take your knowledge from?
I don't know who they
The
are. Tell me their names.
experts or this David the
your experts
doofus?
are nameless.
The David the doofus who doesn't know what's
Can't
going
even
on.
name an expert.
You see what I come?
That
I don't
means
need to.
you're
I don't
lying.
need to.
You're
I don't
lying
need.
then.
Well, I didn't say I knew the names of the experts.
Then don't
All
quote
I
if
need
you
to
don't
do is to explicitly state that these were
Prove
written
it's
by
true.
the
Prove
experts.
it's true. Prove it's true.
So anyway, Andrew, thanks for your time.
When was the translation of the Quran written that gets handed out at rallies?
In the English?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I'm not too sure.
In the 1990s.
No, it wasn't.
Science National.
In
the 1990s.
That's absolute rubbish. That's absolute rubbish.
It's the 1990s.
Thank you for. He's asking about when the translation was first done.
That's what he said. He said the
okay,
one that's handed out at rallies.
Andrew,
Here, my
clarify.
friends. Here.
Which one were you talking about?
My question was the Quran that gets handed out for free at rallies.
And which one would that be? Would that be
it's the blue one, Science National.
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know. Okay, so he's presupposing now, isn't he? He's trying to second guess you.
It's the 1990s.
Right? He's trying to second guess you. But don't worry, Christians, that's what they tend to do. They like to second guess in order to distort the person's religion. Because you know why?
Because it's easy to read in English. Science National.
Because this is the issue.
It's the blue
They're
one
so insecure that they will not evangelize. They don't come here to evangelize. You know what they do? Look, each and every one of them, this is evangelism. Being rude and interjecting the Muslim. But you know what, Andrew, I'll tell you this.
I didn't do it to him yet.
No matter how much they try, we have converts coming to Islam week in, week out.
Doesn't mean anything.
That's to us.
People become
because people.
week in, week out too.
Andrew, check this out. Despite the fact that the newspapers in this country are demonizing Islam and have been doing for the past 20 years.
That's a lie.
He's nodding his head, so that's more than enough.
You're lying.
The fact that
show me
Christians lie against Islam,
year,
particularly these evangelicals,
show me one.
Islam is one of the fastest growing religions in the West.
So Satanism.
A Pew global research that was recently published
that was 10
this
years
year.
Ago, you're lying.
This year.
Show us.
This year.
Show us.
Do a Google search.
Okay.
And
so,
it's been recorded, so people, guys, you
Google.
can check
that
this up on Google.
Ago, man.
They actually said that Islam is the fastest growing religion in the West. And funnily enough, Christians have been losing a lot.
Here's a bit of news for you.
No worries.
In Galway, which is west of Ireland, which is really rural Ireland,
He's just
the number
doing
one
down
name
nonsense.
for male christenings is Mohammed.
Oh wow, that's amazing. So can you repeat that?
They're not very creative with names.
In Galway, which was really rural Ireland, it's the capital of Connacht. The number one name of baptisms is Mohammed.
Allah Akbar. We say God is great. Because you know what? Our Prophet gave us prophecies that are profound. One of which was that there will come a time when not a single household on this earth, Islam will not have entered therein.
Funny enough, his prophet also
better
said
get out of here.
Listen,
Islam
I appreciate your time, my friend.
retracts between two mosques at the end of days. So actually, it appears that Islam is going to apparently like kind of blow out
David.
and crunch up like a big bang and a big crunch. Yeah.
Nice one, David. Andrew, sorry, Andrew.
And please stay from Islam.
Yeah, have a good one.
You're not very smart. But you try.
We'll leave that to the people at home to decide. That's all it is.
You didn't answer my question, by the way.
Sad, seriously, sad. I'm really disappointed. Really disappointed.
We didn't say anything of substance.
Lots of dais are in some preaching.
Yeah.
No. Dying, man. Okay. Take this. Add this. What do you do?
That was very good. Let them make their point. Then we feel to the person that was good. Yo, bro. Can you say that for Crusade? I think it triggered. History. They're on the wrong side of history. I'm here just to
Jesus is God. Muhammad is bloody fraud. Jesus is God. Muhammad is bloody fraud. Jesus is God. Muhammad is bloody fraud.
You are a fraud. You in my country still on handicap. Why are you handicapped? You're holding a stick. Why is he holding a stick? She's moving over. She's taking money from my country by holding a stick. Yeah. Hey! Lady. Yeah.
I want to think I even like him. Honestly.
Take the benefit system. Can't let the lady collect the benefit by holding the stick.
Yeah, I
Take this weapon. Yeah.
How you doing? You good?
Put the worshiper.
Don't worry about it. Everyone there.
That was a good demo as well.
No, Marshall.
He was really listening, very receptive. And because of it, it's done that much.
No, I think it was good. Because Phil was obviously trying to push it hard. You addressed it. I'm going to give some dumb points.
Where you in the ring?
Yeah, I need to move my feet.
I don't feel like something.
Messenger of Allah, peace be upon you. Messenger of Allah. I know. I come to raise the logo, which is the logo, it's a mascot, giant private car. You could consider it that way. In one way, it's separate from Christianity as and you're calling me private car.
I did not put, I think, the one Hamza conversation, no record. Wow. You didn't record?